So I want to make a video to Facebook, a suggestion about things. So I believe that there's a war coming between Muslims and non-Muslims. Um, I am God, and I know that I inspired all the different religions for different reasons, and Islam is the religion that I have inspired so that I can work out, and so that my people can work out who are the people who are most dangerous. Now, Islam is basically just a list of things that I don't agree with, don't support. Okay, there might be some things in it that I mildly agree with. I don't really know. I haven't really found anything. It's just a long list of things that I don't support. And I think if you've chosen to believe it as the truth, then you basically have completely rejected God and want nothing to do with the truth about God. And I think people who do that are either just ignorant, or they are, some people are deliberately Muslim sympathizers because it helps make people think that there's nothing wrong with Islam. If it was just, Muslims versus everyone who hates Muslim, then, people wouldn't just say that I'm a Muslim because they would know that everyone hates the Muslims. So you need to have some sort of Muslim sympathizers so that people don't think that there is anything wrong with Islam. I don't like the fact that Keir Starmer seems to be a Muslim sympathizer, sympathizes with Islam, but at the same time I feel like he has to be that because because it would make all Muslims feel like they have they should have no fear in saying that they're Muslim and confessing it. Not all Muslims are bad. I know that some might just be this because their parents were brought up to believe it, but they might not actually know any details about the religion. There's lots of people who are Christian and they don't actually know anything about the Bible really. They just call themselves this. But I feel like though the first warning flag is calling yourself a Muslim. The second flag is, well, the more serious you take things, the more you delve in it, the more you know about it, the more you support it, the more you just agree with things that I don't agree with, and therefore I feel like a war is brewing between Muslims and non-Muslims, and I'm growing very concerned over the things that I'm posting on Facebook because it's getting more and more bold. I guess I'm getting more and more angry at it, but I'm also feeling like there's a lot of people supporting me. Now, I would have wanted to be very insulting towards Muslims before, but I always felt like there was a lot of people that didn't want to, they were scared of Islam, they were scared to say anything, and I felt that same way, so I never tried to say too much. But I feel like with me watching a lot of Tommy Robinson videos, I feel like there is a growing army of people that are against it and are happy to say things negative about it and happy to be more bold about it. There might be more attacks, but because of this, I feel like there should be a heavy censorship on these two divides. I think prisons should start dividing themselves up into Muslims and non-Muslims, and I think the people who support Muslims, the lawyers that support Muslims, shouldn't have any contact with people that are in different prisons and not Muslims. I think there needs to be a divide, and I think people are starting to see the divide. I watched something this morning and they said that they were arresting 500 Palestine supporters for doing absolutely nothing, just sitting and supporting Palestine. But at the same time, I feel like you need to know who these Palestine supporters are. And then when you create Facebook, divide it in between the Muslims and Muslim sympathizers or Muslim supporters or Muslim, people who are on that side. And then you need to have the rest of people, the general public, and then the Muslim public. I think Facebook should have a professional setting where they have someone in Facebook going through all the different profiles to try and work out if someone is Islamic or not, or if they support Islam and stuff. And if Muslims are seeing lots of Palestine supporters and seeing lots of white British people showing them help and sympathy and saying, yeah, we need to bring them in, welcome all refugees, they're going to feel very safe in this country, they're going to feel supported, they're not going to get angry. If they're starting to see this sort of rise of hatred of Islam, then it's going to make them want to make war with the people that they think are against it. if you believe that there's a lot of people hating you, you're only going to want to build up your anger and start taking out on people, and you don't want Muslims to do that. I think Christians are fairly safe. If they take their anger out on Muslims, it'd probably just be a punch or two, whereas if a Muslim takes his anger out on other people, he will get something, a knife or something, and he might use it. He's going to be far more dangerous and far more vile, and therefore if Facebook want to have a suggestion, I think they should have two public settings, but I don't think it should be. Maybe it can be controlled. Like if there is a button where you say what religion you support. If you want to have a professional setting and you can like add what religion you support, you can do that. But I think it might even be better if it's done like through other people who are kind of working out which setting should they be on this side of the war or that side of the war, and this side of the war needs to be heavily censored so that they don't realize that there's a growing hatred towards Islam. They don't realize that, but the people that do have a growing hatred for Islam, if they're all seeing the posts of other people that are hating it or exposing the crimes or exposing the mad people that are walking around looking like zombies whilst also saying Allah Akbar or whatever, if they're seeing all this, they're going to start growing a hatred for it. But they need to grow a hatred because I feel like there's this tension, that the world needs to be reduced, and I think the dangerous people need to go more and at first and stuff. They need to go first, but at the same time, because they're dangerous, they need to have heavier censorship on the rest of the public. And I think if I'm posting lots of anti-Islamic stuff, I'd love the general public to see it and to maybe be tested in their own mind. Like they'd see my posts and think, what do they think about my posts? Do they agree? Do they think there's any intelligence behind what I'm saying? I'd love the general public to see it. But I'm worried that I'm going to be attracting Muslims or maybe Muslim sympathizers who might say, what do you think of this girl? She thinks this and that. She thinks she's God. She thinks she's Allah. What do you think of her? Because I don't want someone showing up at my door with a knife that's going to like kill me. I don't know. I don't know how long I've got left to wait. And if you're going to come to me in like the next few weeks and take me to America, then maybe it won't be that bad. But if you're planning on ignoring me for a long time still, I'm not going to stop my anti-Islamic posts. I don't fear anyone. There's some sort of demon spirit inside of everyone, and it's every time someone comes to talk to me, it starts acting inside their brain and gets them to pay no attention to the religion that I'm talking about. There's loads of clients who I've told, and yet they just don't take me seriously. And when I talk to other clients about how I can't believe that this guy knew everything and he still wasn't taking me seriously, and then I'm kind of reminded, oh wait, you're not taking me seriously either. You don't believe anything that I'm saying. You're just saying, oh yeah. And I think a lot of my clients think that they're dick, so they just see me as like a pretty blonde dince a dummy who just is fantasizing and doesn't have any real intelligence, and no one's in my life seems to take me seriously. And I would love to have a better life where I actually have a job, where I actually get to talk to people, where I actually feel alive. I'd love to have a job where I actually feel like I'm part of this world, and I don't feel part of this world. I feel completely cut off, but because I feel completely cut off, I feel almost invincible. Like there's like whatever I say, it doesn't matter, because there's going to be some weird spirit inside their head that's just making them ignore me or not take me seriously, or just think that I'm full of shit or whatever. There's going to be a lot of people like that. But I do know that the Islamic spirit is an inverted spirit. It's a bunch of people who are a danger to me, and they're a danger to anyone who's like me, and they're a danger to Western civilization because they're against me and everything I support, and I support the Western world. This is my new world, but they don't believe it. They want to live in the past. They want things to be how it was in the past, and so they're a danger to me. These people aren't going to do what I want. They'll do exactly what I don't want them to do. So, I have no fear of dying, but I do have a fear of being attacked with a knife multiple times and not being able to do anything about it. And therefore, if Facebook was to change something, look at my posts and think, do you think this person should see my posts? And if they came across my post, like if they're just a Christian or something, I'm against Christians because they're worshipping the Antichrist. But I know that it would be quite easy to convince people that actually I'm Christ, And if they're worshipping Jesus, they'll probably stop and they'll start worshipping me. So I'm not actually against. I'm against Christians who will find out about me and still have no interest in me because they still have chosen Jesus. So I hate Christians, but the Christians I hate are the Christians who won't accept me and who will continue worshipping Jesus and only Jesus, and they're the ones that are just gonna go off to find Jesus. But yeah, the Muslims are far more dangerous to me because they are just people who believe in a whole bunch of things that I don't, and I don't support torture. I don't like torture. I don't like, these kind of savage kind of ways, and a lot of Islam does, not all, but a lot of them, there's a lot of wolves in the pack.